Hi, today we're in for a real treat with my guest, Simona Ksoll. Simona is a former international marketing executive for Sony Pictures, who is now an executive coach and consultant living her dream life. She is originally from Austria, lived in Los Angeles, and now lives in the Mexican Riviera. Welcome, Simona.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
So, from what I've learned about you, you've created your dream life not only once, but several times. Literally like something we would see in the movies, like an eat, pray, love sort of life in my mind. Um, so how did you find the courage within yourself to make all of these major changes?
Well, when I first did it, when I moved from Vienna, Austria to Los Angeles, it helped that I was in love. I had fallen in love with a Mexican-American handsome gentleman that lived in Los Angeles. So it was an easier thing to do for me because I went for 2 months. And then the night before I was supposed to fly back, I decided, and I was very young at the time, I was 26, I decided, you know what, I'm going to stay and I'm going to give this a try. And it was easier for me because I had somewhere to go and a place to be. The second time was not that easy because I had created my life in Los Angeles. I was working in the music industry and then in the movie industry. I had a great job and my marriage had fallen apart. So I was working a lot of hours. I was working on a lot of exciting projects, but I felt that there was something missing. And the marriage falling apart was really a catalyst for me to evaluate what is it that I want to do with the rest of my life. And one of the things that I did was I took some time off and I came down here to Mexico to do yoga teacher training, sort of putting the pieces of me back together. I had been working with a therapist, but I needed some time to just figure out what's next. It was a life-changing time. So I was doing this teacher training. And one morning we came out of a meditation and we were sitting on this gorgeous rooftop overlooking the Caribbean Sea. And there were the rays of the sun that were hitting the water. I had my eyes wide open and I heard a voice, a man's voice next to me saying, Simona, you have to move here. And there were no men in the teacher training. So this was really something that came from above and I felt it in my body. And in that moment, I felt that I wanted to do this, right? And I said in my mind, I want to do this. And then the next thought came in, well, how the heck is it ever going to happen? I mean, you have this job in Los Angeles and, when you are decided, the universe brings you people that help you on your quest. And in that training, there was a woman that was a life coach. I had no idea what a coach did at the time. I ended up working with her and she opened the first door to showing me how it could be done. And it was still a scary journey. It took me 3 years to get clear in my mind, how could I get the skills to create a business online? And then it was all about overcoming my fears. And at some point, my mentor just said to me, well, you either do it or you don't. And push came to shove, right? And so I really had to make a decision. Would I be content continuing in my life as is, which is great. It was all figured out. It was a 6-figure income. It was prestigious, but I knew that there was something missing. Or would the regret of not having done what I wanted to do be greater? And so I did. I jumped, right? And it was a scary time to do it. But then on the other side of that fear, beautiful things open up, because when I walked into my boss's office and handed in my resignation, it felt like I was dying. I literally felt like I was going to blank out, like I was going to faint, because it was so scary. It was a visceral reaction, right? But what he said to me was, I'm so happy for you because I'm so miserable in this job.
Wow.
And good on you. And when he said that, everything just dissolved, all my fear dissolved. And then what was on the other side of that was I continued to work for 5 more months with this company, with Sony Pictures in Mexico. And that allowed me to set up my own business. It allowed me to get my first clients, to get my feet wet. And so the outcome after I overcame the fear was better than I expected. But the fear, for anybody that's listening, that's something that we have to go through because that's part of our growth, right? So I'm not sure that answers your question, but for anybody that's listening, that's at a crossroads right now, know that the fear is going to be there and your growth is going to be in taking the step anyways and transcending it. And what expects you on the other side is very different than what your mind makes up because it doesn't let you want to go there. So,
Right.
yeah.
So what role would you say that your response to loss, the loss of your marriage, the loss of your lifestyle in your job, what role would you say that your relationship to that played a role in your ability to transform your life?
Yeah, I mean, the loss was big. The loss of my marriage was literally like somebody ripped the carpet from underneath me. And even though it had been a long time coming because our marriage was not going well, when it happened, I lost not only my best friend and my partner, but also the family. And I felt like, what am I doing now? I'm an immigrant from Austria. I'm in Los Angeles by myself. So I really dug into work. But it took me a while to actually realize, 7 years, to be honest with you, because I held a lot of grudge towards my ex-husband. But then I realized we were both really unhappy in that marriage, right? And he finally had the courage to make a decision and to do what's best for him and to walk away. And that was the greatest gift that he could have given me, because I would have never walked away, because I was too ashamed to come clean to my friends and family to say I was a failure in my marriage, right? And I would not be doing what I'm doing today had he not liberated me, had he not made that decision to walk away. So I'm actually really thankful for that loss, because every time we lose something, it's also something that is no longer serving us, that we have outgrown, right? Obviously, it's better when we make that choice, right? Than when the choice is being made for us. But in every loss, there is a gift. And I believe it's a necessary step for our advancement. It sets us up for the next chapter. Like, even if you lose a person that is dear to you, sometimes it can help you as you know, in your profession, how to help other people with this, because you've experienced this. So, so everything, like I always like to say, there's a gift in everything, and everything happens for us and not to us. It just sometimes takes us a while to recognize the gift, because we have to process, and rightfully so, our emotions, right? Because this is a process. When you lose something, when you go through loss, you have to come to terms with it, and then you can reemerge,
For sure. And just, I think the awareness that every loss is a liberation in some way makes it a little bit easier, even though maybe not less painful. So,
No.
all right. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So now at this time, because so many people have the freedom to live wherever they choose, with the ability to work remotely, what advice would you give them to help them figure out how to know which place, how to know which job?
That's a great question. I get that actually a lot. And with regard to the place, I would recommend that you check out places that are calling you, and actually go there and live there for at least a month, rent an apartment and live as a local. So you get the experience. Do you like it? What's the energy like? Can you see yourself doing this? Like, really set up your routine as if you were living there. In terms of a job, it's really following your desire. What lights you up? What is exciting to you? What could you do all day, every day, even without getting paid for it? Because, life is short. We really got to do something that we are all excited about getting out of bed for every day. So whatever that is. And a lot of time when I work with people, when they become conscious of what it is that they want to do, it's often 180-degree departure from what they have been doing up until now. I was recently talking to a former executive at Sony who saw me on LinkedIn and came to me. And what transpired for him was he's a marketing executive, right? He's financing films. He's doing all this stuff for 30 years. And what he really wants to do is he wants to be a farmer, an olive farmer in Israel, right?
Wow.
And why not? Why not, right? If that's what's calling you, go. But just be prepared. When you become aware of this, don't be afraid that it's 180-degree departure, because everything that you've done up until now has actually perfectly prepared you for that next step into your next chapter, right? And really honor what it is that's calling you. I mean, when I became aware of it, I wanted to move to Mexico, and I thought, oh my God, that is so selfish. I can't tell people that, because they're going to think of me as just wanting to drink margaritas, do happy hour, and put my feet in the sand. But what I had to do in order, and I'm not doing that, by the way, I work every single day, but what I had to do to be able to move to Mexico is I had to help a lot of people, right? And I first started out as working in my original profession. I wanted to be a coach, but let me be a marketing coach because that's my comfort zone because I've been doing that for 20 years. Like marketing was my thing. And then my mentor said to me, tell me what you really want to do because marketing's not it. And I said, no, it is. And then he goes, no, tell me what you really want to do. And I said, you know what you do, that mindset thing, that's what's calling me. I find that so interesting, but I'm such a baby and such an infant in that I couldn't possibly be doing that. And he goes, well, I can help you get there. And this is what I'm doing right now. I'm actually combining the two. But, you know, for me, it was all about fear of not being good enough to do this, right? But on the inside, I was really excited about, yeah, I want to do that. And I didn't dare to speak up about it. But that's the thing, when you become aware of that thing, trust that there is a way that you can do this, you know, that the skills that you have accumulated in your life have prepared you. And then, yes, there might be new skills that you need to learn, but wouldn't it be so much better in your life if you did something that really lights you up, where you're super excited and where you can help other people? Like that guy becoming an olive farmer, if he chooses to do that, it's going to help a lot of people in his community, right? And he's going to be a happier person. But whatever it is, honor it. Your heart knows, you know, just follow it.
Do you ever find with clients that it's so natural and easy that they don't recognize it? Like what they're doing naturally with their skills is what they should be doing instead of making this grand effort to do something else.
Yeah, that's a great point, because a lot of times what I find with people that they're naturally great at one thing, but they don't give it that meaning because it's so natural to them that they don't see that's their secret superpower, right? So yeah, absolutely. I'd agree.
I was just talking to a friend yesterday, and then she felt like sort of purposeless in her job and like the easy job, and she wanted the harder, you know, I need to create this business that it needs to be challenging and difficult. And I thought, well, you're so great at what you do. Why wouldn't that be your purpose? And then, you know, it's just a life, but she's like, well, it feels too easy. It feels too easy to her.
That's a belief, because when we grow up with a belief that it has to be hard, that making money has to be hard, then that's when we get into this predicament, because then we also feel that, well, if it's so easy, there's shame and guilt attached because for other people it's hard. But why would you not? God has given you this gift that is a natural to you, right? So you are meant to be sharing it. And of course, because it's your gift from the divine, it's easy for you. And that's how it's meant to be. We just made it difficult because of what we've been indoctrinated with. Got to work hard for the money. If it's not hard work, it's not worth anything.
Right.
What if we shifted our thinking into, this is my beautiful gift and it's easy? How much more enjoyable would our lives be?
Right. That's perfectly said. So, okay, I'm going to press you a little bit on the finding a place, like figuring out a place. So if someone doesn't have the resources to go live as a local for a month or travel to multiple locations and do that, or, you know, to feel as though they're being called the way that you were, sitting by the water, clearly hearing a message, do you have any other advice for them or tips on how they could figure that out?
You can always listen to what your heart is telling you. Like, what are you thinking about in your secret thoughts will tell you where to go, right? And it's all about allowing yourself to go there in your mind and to not judge it and to not give it meaning. So when I felt the call to move to Mexico, I was very ashamed of it because I thought it was so selfish, right? But then I started working with mentors who taught me that your desire is not selfish, that your desire actually leads the way of where you're meant to be going next, right? And if you are looking to move abroad, see if you currently are in a profession and have a job, you know, can you go on vacation there? And can you get a feel for what that is like? Can you find a way to transfer your job remotely so that you can work from there? That's very possible. Can you look for a job that is in your current profession that allows you to work remotely? But now you can look for jobs that are remote only, and that means you can work this job from anywhere. I mean, preferably in the same time zone, right? So, but I think it's so much easier now for people. So if a place is really calling you, you can find that job opportunity that allows you to work from anywhere.
Beautiful. So if someone came to you and wanted to reinvent themselves in the way that you have, what would be your top 3 tips?
Well, to get really clear on your vision, first of all, and why you want to do that, because you got to understand that the journey there, you got to work for it. Not necessarily hard, but you got to work on that dream. So be really clear about the vision, be really clear about why it is important to you. Like make sure that it's a true desire of the heart. And then look at, do what you currently believe about yourself in terms of your possibilities. What's possible for you, does that line up with the vision? Because if not, you gotta actually transform that belief system and then create an action plan. You know, like you obviously, if you want to move, you need to have a budget. For any vision, you need to set goals that lead to the accomplishment of the vision, and then that translates into daily actions that you have to do in order to get there, right? But the most important thing is the vision, because the vision really dictates everything else, and your belief system, because you got to believe that you can do it. You got to believe it with all your heart, and then all these action steps that you have to take, you got to take from that knowing and that believing that it is for you.
Do you think you have to be 100% in to do it?
You do. Yeah,
Okay.
you got to be 100% in. You got to be 100% in, because otherwise you'll never do it. Because at the first obstacle, you're going to quit, because your mind's going to make up some excuse and you're going to say, oh, it's not meant for me. No, no, no. You got to be all in. The vision is going to be your guiding beacon of light, and it's going to carry you through all the way. You don't stop until you reach it. And that's, you know, where it's helpful to work with somebody who can hold the vision high for you when you don't see the forest for the trees, which is what I did, because sometimes the fear was so great that I was grateful to have a mentor who said, look, you just got to think clearly and think truthfully about what the situation is like, and not clouded from your doubts, from your worries, and from your belief system. So that was very helpful.
Absolutely. So if someone would like you to be their mentor or to work with you, how can they connect with you?
They can connect with me on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, or at simonaksoll.com. And it
Okay.
always starts with a conversation, just to really get clear on what their vision is, why they want to do it, and what their perceived obstacle is. And we'll take it from there.
Fabulous. Okay. Thank you so much, Simona, for chatting with me today. You've been such an inspiration.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.